On May 4th, when the entire country was in a lockdown, suddenly almost all state governments reopened alcohol shops in their states. People started queuing up for alcohol and social distancing went for a toss. Why did state governments do this? They said they did this to raise funds to fight the coronavirus disease in their state. Really? Don't they have any other ways of raising funds other than depending on people's alcohol habits? The answer is no. And the reason for this goes back to what happened at the stroke of the midnight hour on July 1st, 2017. On July 1st, 2017, Prime Minister Modi and then Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, in a grand show in Central Hall of Parliament, launched GST, calling it One Nation, One Tax. How did GST force states to depend on alcohol to raise funds? State governments get funds from three main sources: tax revenues collected within their own state, a share of tax revenues collected by the center and given to the states, grant or aid from the center. Before GST, states could decide their own tax rates on goods and services sold in their state and collect the funds directly. After GST, states lost these powers. They could not decide and collect their own taxes from their own states. They were now dependent on the center entirely. Now during coronavirus, the center has not paid the state governments their own tax money. They have defaulted on their obligation. States are not getting their share from the center and they do not have any powers to raise taxes from goods and services sold in their state. So the states are left stranded and they do not have any money to fight COVID-19. The only other sources for states are taxes on petrol, diesel, alcohol, land, or electricity. But because of the lockdown, the demand for petrol, diesel, electricity, land is down. The only option is alcohol, where demand can even be higher in a lockdown. You may ask, can't states borrow money from banks than collecting money through alcohol? To lend money to states, banks usually ask for a guarantee from the center or charge a very high interest rate. States are once again dependent on the center to borrow money. If there had been no GST, states would have had their tax revenues from their own states and they could have raised tax rates on certain products like mobile phones, meat products, and got more money to fight coronavirus. It is very ironic that because of GST, state governments are forced to rely on people's alcohol addiction to save people's lives from coronavirus. During the British time, the Indian government had to go to London for everything. Now, state governments have to go to Delhi for everything. Is Delhi the new London?